and to her we shall return like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean. Isis, Astarte, Diana, Hecate, Demeter, Kali, Inanna. Isis, Astarte, Diana, Hecate, Demeter, Kali, Inanna. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean. Hello, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me here. I want to begin by acknowledging that I am on the unceded ancestral land of the First Peoples of Seattle, the Duwamish, past and present, and I honor with gratitude the land itself and the Duwamish Nation. So welcome to the 23rd anniversary goddess worship service in Gaia's temple. Wow, the little ministry that could. That's what I'm calling it, the little ministry that could. For close to a quarter of a century, wow. Sounds like a long time. Gaia's temple has been where we have gathered to worship the divine feminine, who manifests as different goddesses all over the globe, and of course as the globe herself, Mother Earth, planet Gaia, Mother Nature. There have been many, many changes in Gaia's temple along the way, and 23 years later we are still here providing sacred space where we foster love of the divine feminine by honoring nature and the qualities of compassion and relatedness, where we have grown spiritually by emulating nature, and so that we can be her best stewards. And so if you agree that that is a good idea, then you have come to the right place. Because here is where we tend to our minds and our hearts and our bodies and our souls and find peace in shared community. I'm Reverend Judith Laxer, and I'm so honored that you've chosen to spend an hour or so of your time here with me and this loving community in Gaia's temple. So we are 2 board members down today, and so I shall be making the announcements, and here we go. First, I'll ask you, if you haven't already, to turn your cell phones off so that we won't be disturbed during the service. And we've got a couple of events coming up, and the first one I want to share with you is called Autumn Leaf. That's coming up this Friday night, September 15th at Om Culture, beginning at 5 o'clock. It is the 5th annual, actually, lovely event that I'll be keynoting it. There'll be other speakers speaking all kinds of beautiful wisdom about growing older, becoming an elder, being in the mature stage of life. There'll be universal dances of peace, there'll be a drum circle, and then ecstatic dancing, and it's a potluck, wonderful event. And there are flyers on the networking table so that you can get some information about it, and I do hope you join us. It's just a lovely, lovely event, and I'm honored to be a part of it again this year. Then, for Gaia's Temple, we have our Mabon celebration, our autumn equinox, that is actually on the equinox itself this year, Friday night, September 29th, I believe it is. And you can go to our website, gaiastemple.org, and purchase your ticket there and get all the information that you need. Yes? I did. I meant to say the 22nd. Is what I meant to say. It'll be on the actual equinox. The 29th is long past the equinox, so we'll just roll it back a little bit on the actual equinox, Friday night, September 22nd. Thank you so much. And then the next Sabbath, which we usually don't start talking about until the following month, but I'm going to talk about it now because it's our first spiral dance back together in person since the pandemic. And we are excited. We're going to be having it right here in this sanctuary, so Yahoo for that. And that is a very large event that requires a lot of volunteers. to move the chairs out of the way and set the lights up and the altars and all of the ambiance, including the potluck that we have, and then setting up tables and then breaking the whole thing down and getting it to look exactly like it looks right now before the next morning service here at Shoreline UU. So on the networking table out there, we have a sign-up sheet for volunteers, and please do sign up to volunteer because many hands make light, and we need many hands for that event. And even if you can't volunteer, save the date, because it's a magnificent ritual in which we honor our beloved dead, and we are so excited to be back together again to do it this year. So that's going to be on Saturday night, October 28th, which is the Saturday before Samhain proper. And then if you are interested in becoming a member of the board of directors for Gaia's Temple, and you might think that you want to be in leadership for this beautiful little ministry that could, we will be starting our new year. Usually when board members begin, they begin with us in January. If you're interested in that, contact me and let me know, and we will have that discussion. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, even if you have not yet already, even if you don't usually watch it on YouTube, or you attend to the service or watch it on Zoom, because the more people that we have, the higher we go in the ratings, and we need every little bit of help that we can to get the word out there. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you're watching on YouTube and Zoom, hello, and thank you so much. And also, we hope that you stay for fellowship after the service today. We'll have some coffee and some snacks, and hopefully you'll hang around with us for a little while. We have some new talent in our temple today. Joyce Allison will be singing for us, and she told me she's delighted to be joining us today. One of her true joys in life is sharing her passion for community through the magic of music. Of course, what's better than that? The magic of music, nothing. She's a member of Shoreline UU Church here, which is how we originally connected, and she'll be bringing her offering of music to our November service as well, so welcome, Joyce. Thank you so much for being here. All right, we're going to put the words up for the next chant, and we're going to sing to get the energy moving in the room a little bit before we create some sacred space. This is a reclaiming chant, and that's right. And you just join in as you catch on. I know an old woman who weaves the night sky. See how she spins, see her fingers fly. She weaves within us, beginning to end. Our grandmother, sister, and friend. She is the weaver, and we are the web. She is the needle, and we are the thread. Oh, she changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. I know an old woman who weaves the night sky. See how she spins, see her fingers fly. She weaves within us, beginning to end. Our grandmother, sister, and friend. She is the weaver, and we are the web. She is the needle, and we are the thread. Oh, she changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches. One more time. I know an old woman who weaves the night sky. See how she spins, see her fingers fly. She weaves within us, beginning to end. Our grandmother, sister, and friend. She is the weaver, and we are the web. She is the needle, and we are the thread. Oh, she changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. I just love that chant. And we sing it every September at least. All right, so we're going to continue on now and create our sacred space. If you would take a moment, close your eyes, let's go within. And take a nice, deep, cleansing breath. Oh. Take a moment now to call all the pieces and parts of you home. So any part of you that you have projected into your future, that might be stuck anywhere in your past, or distracted by any of the myriad of things that can distract us. Take a moment now and call all the pieces and parts of you home so that you can be here now. And breathe deeply into that presence. And on your next exhale, begin to ground yourself to the earth by imagining a line of energy that extends downward from the base of your spine, down through the chair that you are seated in, down through the floor and the foundation of the building, deep into Mother Earth, and send down that strong taproot deep and more deeply and even more deeply than that. Really drop your taproot down. Feel how she opens to receive your energy as you connect to her. And when that taproot of yours gets exactly where it needs to be, so that you feel this deep, beautiful connection, send out smaller little branches, reaching out, taking hold. Imagine now that they become porous and start to drink the energy of Mother Earth in and up. And know that what you're drinking in is her nourishment, her sustenance, her strength, her beauty, and most importantly, her unconditional love. Drink in the energy of unconditional love from the Great Mother. And draw that energy up, up, up. Let it transfer over into your spine. Keep drawing her up inside you till she gets to your heart. And when she arrives there, let her rest there. And take another deep breath to make more room. Leaving that earth energy there in your heart, in your mind's eye now, look to the heavens and find the moon. She is waning now, and she's in the sign of Leo. And so draw that bright, playful, wise moon down onto you and into you. Imagine her silvery, luminous light pouring from the heavens, entering into you through your crown, and draw her down into your heart, so down through your head and your neck. She is making her way into your chest, and then finally there in your heart. And when she arrives there once more, deep breath, make more room for her. Good, we'll leave the moon energy resting there too, and then look to the heavens once more and find the sun, beautiful Virgo sun, healing, warming. The last of that longer days are here now. And imagine now that that beautiful, radiant, golden sunlight is pouring down onto you and into you, and draw his energy in, golden, and bring him all the way down into your heart as well. And when he arrives, breathe deeply. Good, now we have all three of these cosmic energies there in our heart, earth, moon, and sun. And in a moment, I'm going to ask us to take a deep collective breath together. And when we exhale, let's use our breath to push this exhalation straight forward outside of our body. We'll imagine it swirling all around us, creating our safe and sacred space. So here we go, deep breath. And out it goes. In this way, we say we have stepped between the worlds. What is between the worlds is not affected by the worlds, but can heal and transform. And so we say our circle is cast in perfect love and perfect trust. Blessed be. Blessed be. All right. So, Joyce, I'm going to ask you to come on up, and we're going to sing in the elements, starting with earth. Earth in the north. Excuse me. Stina, might you get me a glass of water, please? Thank you so much. Spirits of the earth, carry me. Spirits of the earth, carry me home. Spirits of the earth, carry me home to my heart. And to air in the east. Spirits of the air, carry me. Spirits of the air, carry me home. Spirits of the air, carry me home to my heart. And to fire in the south. Spirits of the fire, carry me. Spirits of the fire, carry me. Thank you so much. You can just put it right there, yeah. The fire, carry me home to my heart. And to water in the west. Spirits of the water, carry me. Spirits of the water, carry me home. Spirits of the water, carry me home to my heart. You can lift the vase on this one. Spirits of the center, carry me. Spirits of the center, carry me home. Spirits of the center, carry me home to my heart. Thank you, Joyce. Give us a chime, too. What the heck? There you go. Thank you so much. Okay, and now for the invocation. If the words are already up there, here we go. We'll read them all together. Grain goddess Demeter, bringer of sustenance, be with us. Persephone, maiden of mystery, be with us. As autumn ripens and the days grow shorter, be with us. Today we seek to embrace change, be with us. To turn toward the continual changes of nature, be with us. To accept the cycles that in time bring renewal, be with us. To remember how resilient and adaptable we are, be with us. And to welcome change as the agent of our spiritual growth, be with us. We gather on this fine day to be in your presence, be with us. Blessed be, blessed be. All right, this is where we do a little meet and greet. So I'm going to ask you to stand on up and say good morning to each other. Meet somebody you never met before. Get somebody's name. Say hello. Don't be afraid. It's just us. It's just us humans. Beautiful, lovely, lovely, lovely. I'm going to ask all the people who were born in the month of September to come on up to the front of the room. Do we have any September birthdays? We sure do! Yay! Woohoo! So we're going to sing our song in a moment. And listen, you hang on until we get to the second part of the... No, you can stand here. I just meant wait till we get to the second verse, and that's when you go down through our little tunnel. Everybody create a tunnel in the center. Here we go. When you're magic, anything can happen when you're magic. You're a shining star, listen to the moonlight, call your name, you know who you are. Okay, there you go. Believe in magic, let it carry you to wonders near and far. Love is magic, love is true, love is who you are. When you're magic, anything can happen when you're magic. You're a shining star, listen to the moonlight, call your name, you know who you are. Woo! Happy birthday! A nice even 3 times. Good job, girl. Noam, are we ready for the podcast? All right. September. What a gorgeous month. Still warm and sunny during the days with the relief of cooler mornings and evenings. The harvest continues and figs and pears begin to replace peaches and plums at the local markets. The leaves are beginning to turn. There's that old back-to-school feeling. The third week of September brings the autumnal equinox as we continue our annual journey around that life-giving star in the center of our galaxy, our sun. And the equinox is a special time in that journey, a fleeting time, it's just a 24-hour period, when the days and nights are of equal length. It's a good time to contemplate balance at this time and seek it out in our lives. You know, I find that walking the wheel of the year, spiritually conscious of the ongoing changes that it brings, creates a wholeness that is at the core of good health. We all know we need balanced nutrition for our bodies to be healthy, and the same is true for our mental, our emotional, and our spiritual health. So by experiencing the changing seasons in a spiritual way, we embrace nature's wholeness because we embrace every aspect of the life cycle. So recently, I received a letter from a congregant that I want to read to you because it was just so perfect and beautiful. And she said, "Dear Judith, so many thoughts, so little time. So I'll spare you the details, except this. August, September is bittersweet. The tomatoes, rhubarb, and apples are ripe and mostly canned and frozen. Carrots and beets stay in the ground until I need them. But all is dying down to compost, waiting for the time to begin again. The dependable, glorious, nostalgic sorrows and joys of passing time. A garden is it all, with the added bonus of being scrumptious." And I just thought that was so perfect for where we are right now. Now, on an individual personal level, Mabon, or the autumn equinox, is a good time to consider what might be out of balance in your life and make some course corrections. Now, collectively at Mabon, the autumn equinox, we meet in sacred space to cross the threshold into the dark half of the wheel of the year. Now the nights will grow longer than the days, which affords us the opportunity to contemplate some of those deeper mysteries on the life cycle, with time to gather in the last of the harvest, time to preserve seeds for the future, and then to rest, to surrender to dormancy, and accept death as a necessary part of the life cycle. Death is a necessary part of life. So autumn and spring are the seasons of transition between the seasons of extremes, winter and summer. And each season, of course, is different from the other, and each bring their particular beauty. I like to think of the changing seasons as the changing menu for the feast of life. By now, we are acquainted with these dishes, you know, and most likely we have designated some of them as our favorites. And what makes them so special is that we don't have them all the time. And so right away, we can see one benefit of change. Change helps amplify our appreciation of life and its many, many different facets. The thing is that due to some mysterious universal force field, our galaxy was formed. And we are but one of several planets that orbit this particular star we call our sun. And this orbit happens again and again without end. We cannot stop this orbit, nor can we stop the consistent changes that orbiting our sun brings. Our journey around the sun is out of our control. It's going to happen whether we want it to or not. This is the way of our existence. It is nature, and nature is cyclical. It is ongoing. It is full of change. It would behoove us to befriend this universal nature, to acknowledge and embrace it, because it's going to happen anyway. And we would benefit greatly, experience more ease and joy, and even bliss by doing so. Take a sip of that water now. Thank you, Stina. Thank you. So at this September service, I have been known to relay the myth of the great grain goddess Demeter and her holy daughter Persephone, those Greek goddesses whose collective domain is the surface and the depths of the earth. And I'm going to refer to this rich narrative today, but I'm not going to tell this story in full. And if you've not heard me tell this story, then I encourage you to find the September 21 service on YouTube or on the archives of the podcast on our website, gaiastemple.org. Not last year. Last year I was teaching the tenets of revolutionary love, but in 2021 I told that story, and it's worth reviewing. I think it's a gorgeous story. Anyway, the myth is a type of creation story in that it offers a personified explanation of the changing of the seasons. The Reader's Digest version of this myth, as I tell it, is one in which the wise crone goddess Hecate orchestrates her maiden granddaughter Persephone's leave-taking to the underworld to become queen of the dead, at the side of her beloved lord of the underworld, Hades. Now she leaves because she's growing up, because she longs for the adventure of womanhood, because becoming emancipated from her mother is necessary for her maturity. We might say this tale is a coming-of-age rite of passage for Persephone. And when she leaves, it causes a rite of passage for her mother Demeter as well, who in her grief at the sudden and unexplained loss of her daughter refuses to let the earth grow grain, and a great famine occurs. As time goes on, the wails of hunger grow stronger and louder, and soon they reach the underworld, and Persephone, with Hecate's guidance, strategizes a plan that will satisfy. She will eat 6 pomegranate seeds as a promise to return to the upper world and stop the famine that Demeter has caused, and then she will return to the underworld for 6 months to be with her beloved. Now, I've taken the liberty of rewriting certain aspects of this ancient narrative because it comes down to us from the classical era of Greece, which smacks of patriarchy. For example, in the classic tale, as most of us learned it, Hades abducts and rapes Persephone to make her his queen. And I have ousted, absolutely ousted, the abduction and rape of Persephone as a justification for the changing seasons. Rape and abduction are never justified, no matter what. Now, I believe this was originally a love story, a story about the life cycle and the necessary changes that the life cycle brings. But even if it wasn't a love story, why not make it one? Because what better motivation can there be than love to bring about any necessary change? I can't think of a one. And change is going to happen because it's necessary. Nature is dynamic. It's not static. So today I want to focus on the changes that occur in this myth, because I think the pearl to glean from it is the necessity of change, the necessity for change, and ultimately, the beauty of change. Our lives are filled with one change after another, some of them seemingly sudden, some seem to take forever, which is all about our relationship to time, and that's a topic for another service altogether. But I'm sure you have all heard the old saying, the only constant in life is change. And if not, now you have. The only constant in life is change. And there is such wisdom in that saying, despite the catchy oxymoron pointing out the disparity between constant and change. Right? It's like the phrase jumbo shrimp. It shouldn't make sense, and yet we all understand exactly what it's saying. The only constant is change. The first change that occurs in this myth is Persephone's descent into the underworld. The pull she feels to move onward, to leave the comfort of the familiar, the protection of her mother, the beauty of nature's diversity, is one that she cannot ignore. It's strong enough to propel her onward. This is the impetus of growth. It's always strong enough to propel us onward. Now, there are times when we might not want to move onward. In fact, times of not wanting to move onward are just about guaranteed in life. We want to stop time, on that loving glance or that juicy kiss or that day of triumph or accomplishment or the years when our kids were still kids, Of course, we don't want the good times to end. We are sensate creatures, and we much prefer pleasurable sensations. Sometimes we don't want to move on because we are dreading or afraid of what will come. What will happen if we do move on? We might get hurt. We might hurt someone else. We might cause or encounter a problem or something painful, a disturbance in the field. So I want to talk about this field for a moment. From a metaphysical perspective, and in quantum theory as well, there exists an invisible energy field, what we might call the vibe in the room. I'm sure it's all happened. You've walked into a room and you're like, you could cut the air with a knife in here. Something must have just happened in here. Like, we can feel the vibe in the room. That's the energy field. From a pagan perspective, that's the field where magic occurs. I believe once we spiritually tune into that energy field, we can participate in and influence it. When we practice magic, we raise energy and then we direct it into the ethers to affect what? Change. Yes, change is the way of it. I think this is why all spiritual practices have power, why prayer works, why meditation works. We're seeking to affect change, and we put our intentions and our desires and our hopes and our dreams out into this energy field, and then we must keep the faith and trust that will manifest itself, and we will see the beneficial results. So Persephone leaves with her love, which causes the next change. Demeter panics when she can't find her missing daughter, and she is furious, and she is devastated, and she is bereft, and she walks everywhere looking for her. As time goes on and Demeter cannot find her precious daughter, her heart breaks and her energy begins to lag. And as her vitality withers, so does life on the surface of the earth. And soon the goddess is walking through dry, barren fields. The lyric of one of the songs that accompany my telling of this tale reads, "Autumn time, red leaves fall, while the weeping sky looks over all. Demeter sadly walks the land, the dying grasses in her hand." I can't help but notice the symbolic meaning of Demeter's fields of dying grain to that energetic field. Her emotions cause change, and not just in her life, but in everyone's life. Hunger strikes with its torturous grip. Her response to her loss causes a disturbance in the field, and it has ripple effects. Disturbances and ripples cause change. And if that can happen to a powerful goddess like the great grain mother Demeter, then none of us are outside the realm of both experiencing change and causing it. Change must be necessary if our lives are always changing, whether we want them to or not. And not because change is, and that is because change is always happening anyway. It's the is factor. Like when we say, why does change have to happen? We could chase that why from now until forever. The truth is, it does happen. Nature is dynamic. It is not static. Winter might seem like it's going to last forever, but it doesn't. You know, recently I saw a meme which stated, "Don't try to calm the storm. Try to calm yourself. The storm will pass." Such wisdom there in that statement, I think. That's the thing to keep in mind no matter how difficult something is. It doesn't last because change is the necessary way of all things. Things can also change for the better, right? Change can bring relief as well. Now, sometimes in the middle of a panicked, devastated, infuriating, and grief-stricken change, it's hard to believe that things will not always be that difficult. It might take time to get that relief, but eventually, the storm will pass because everything changes, including the storm. And even when we know the ravages of that storm might mean we can't go back to things the way they were before that storm, we can choose to keep hope in our hearts that we will adapt to the changes that that storm brings. We can choose to make hope our companion through that storm. Holding hope for ease in the future can help us traverse difficulties in the present moment. Hope is always a good companion on the changing road of life, especially when we hit the tough stuff.
storm, keep your head up high, and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm, there's a golden sky and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and torn. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone. When you walk through a storm, keep your head up high, and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm, there's a golden sky and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone.
Thank you, Joyce. Thank you. So beautiful. That song is from the musical Carousel by Rodgers and Hammerstein. So if you would, take a moment now, close your eyes and go within. Take a nice deep breath and once more connect to that grounding core deep in the earth that we set down at the beginning of the service. And once you feel grounded again, bring your attention to your third eye in the center of your forehead. Imagine it like an actual eye, just like your other two, and go ahead and open it, look out through it into your imagination, and find yourself walking through nature on a deep autumn late afternoon. Notice all of those gorgeous leaves on the trees and on the ground beneath them. And notice that syrupy golden light as it slants in the sky. And notice now how peaceful you feel inside. Another beautiful autumn is here, and it brings you a sense that Mother Nature is still at the helm, and this makes you feel safe. Now, in this peaceful state, grounded to and nurtured by the mother as you walk, change is happening all around you. So now bring to mind a change that is on your personal horizon, some change that's coming up for you that perhaps you find difficult or frightening or anxiety producing. For some reason or another, you find yourself having a little resistance to this change. Good. Now bring to mind a change that you have already experienced that elicited the same emotions in you. Maybe you were fired from your job, or you went through a breakup or a divorce, or maybe you were facing a medical treatment or had to leave something or someone behind. Take a moment now and bring this difficult change from your past to mind now. And spend a moment thinking about it and what exactly was so hard about the situation, specifically about how it made you feel. Allow yourself to reflect on those difficult emotions from this perspective of the time that has already passed. Good. And now bring yourself into present time once more and consider that you somehow made it through that. One way or another, you are here now, remembering that time. But you're no longer experiencing that specific hardship or the worst of that hardship. Times like that change us for sure. Everything in life, both good and bad, contributes to our growth, and growth occurs due to change. And although it might not be pleasant to recall that difficulty, you can see how the worst of the hardship has ebbed, and you are okay. So now bring back to mind the present change on your personal horizon again, the thing that's coming up. And notice if you feel any differently about it. You still might not be looking forward to it, but now you remember how resilient you are, how much more mature you are than that last time, and that you can trust yourself to make it through. And now, see if you can find exactly where your resistance to this upcoming change lives in your body. Is it in your heart, your gut, your brain, all three, or someplace else? Find it now. Where does that resistance live within your body? And now imagine that you can wrap that feeling with the love you carry in your heart and soul. Imagine that love as a warm blanket and wrap it around that part of you that's dreading the upcoming change. Wrap it around the part of your body where your dread is held. And wrap it around with love and feel the comfort of that love. Remembering that you've made it through tough times before, and so you will again. And as you feel the comfort of this warm love wrapped around your fears or any difficult emotion you might be feeling, the truth of change, that it's necessary because that is nature's way, and you're not separate or outside of nature, contributes to your comfort. There's a comfort in it. Awareness of this truth strengthens you, and you can feel yourself turning toward this change now instead of resisting it, turning to face it. You can feel yourself embracing the fact of change, even if you don't necessarily welcome this one, and that makes it easier to face. Now, one more thing. Notice that the blanket of love that you wrapped around yourself, or you wrapped your dread in, has a beautiful thread woven in it. It's shining, almost metallic. It's catching the light. It is the thread of hope. Love has given you strength to encounter the upcoming change, and hope will accompany you through it. So take another deep breath and gently bring yourself back here to this sanctuary. And when you feel ready, open up your eyes. So back to the myth now about one more change. It's often easier for the one leaving than it is for the one left behind. Easier for the one who affects change than the one who is necessarily affected by it. Persephone chooses to leave the upper world, but she doesn't necessarily know where she's going. She only knows she's fallen in love with Hades and she's willing to go where he is. In the classic myth, this is the abduction part, where Hades bursts up through the earth, grabs Persephone, and takes her back down to his realm without her willing consent. No bueno. In many narratives, there are crossroad moments, experiences where choices are made. And the journey begins from there. A journey that brings a necessary change. In this case, it is the Shero's journey, and our Shero, Persephone, chooses to leave behind all she has ever known for where her heart is leading her. She is following love, and love, as we know, is wonderful. The path Persephone takes causes necessary change despite her not knowing the outcome, which, when you think of it, is every path we have ever walked. Now, some of us have journeyed around the sun a few times, and some of us many times. But after you do journey around the sun, and you know what it's like to live on Gaia with her changing seasons and her natural life cycle, once you've shivered in the cold and fanned yourself in the heat, once you have felt vital and robust and sick and tired, when you've laughed like a loon and cried like a baby, then you know on a soul level, if not on a conscious one, that change is the way of it. And if the life cycle with all its changes is the way of it, then why not embrace whatever it brings and ease our way along the journey? Now, I'm not talking about tolerating aspects of life that we find untenable and just suffering without trying to change it for the better. For example, if someone's harassing you, this is not the thing to embrace, even though it's happening in the field, right? This is the time to take action to stop the harassment, to protect yourself, and to seek justice. But if, for example, the issue is you don't like getting older, you're grieving your youthfulness, how you used to look when you were younger, it's time to embrace the truth of life. Here on earth, which includes aging, why not embrace what is natural? Find it beautiful because it's natural. Ease our way along the journey. What would happen if we walk the changing path of life with curiosity for every part of it, with openness for what it will bring? We still affect change with our actions, but in the very big, dare I say, galactic picture, to think of our path of our life as an exploration. Why don't you sing to us about that, Joyce? Let's find out what would happen if we did that.
That's a great idea, Judith.
Thank you.
I was so enamored. If I could look down on this path I walk from somewhere way up high, I could see the crooked road that I have come. I walked a mile with sorrow, I walked a mile with joy, and now I'm less afraid of either one. For every tear I've cried, there's a smile that I've earned. For every mile I walked, there's a lesson I learned. I'm not lost, I am exploring. Life is an adventure worth enjoying, though I may not know where I'm going. I am not lost, I am exploring. No, I Some people choose to live their lives on quiet avenues, while others find a place in the parade. Some like me are seekers, we take less traveled roads, believing we can find a better way. And though I get discouraged, I won't be turning back. I have joy as my compass and faith as my map. I'm not lost, I am exploring. Life is an adventure worth enjoying, though I may not know where I'm going. I am not lost, I am exploring. No, I am not lost, I am exploring. All of us are headed for the same destination, so why not blaze a trail that's got imagination? I'm not lost, I am exploring. Life is an adventure worth enjoying, though I may not know where I'm going. I am not lost, I am exploring. No, I am not lost, I am exploring. No, I am not lost, I am exploring.
Thank you, Joy. So beautiful. Just before the service, Kathy and I were talking, and who was it about the water? The tennis champion who won and said, I'd like to thank all the people who didn't believe in me. You thought you were pouring water on me, but really it was gasoline, and it fueled me to just, And, I just love those kind of turnarounds. I'm not lost, I'm exploring. You didn't believe in me, oh yeah, watch this. Like we can take what's in the field and shift it to support us moving forward. You have to learn how to do that. Got to practice doing that. So the planet keeps orbiting, the life cycle keeps turning. What was once bright and colorful must grow dim and colorless before it returns bright and colorful again. What lives must die. What has died must live again. Persephone will return in the spring. Demeter will recover and the grains will grow. There is no end, just a series of changes according to nature. And these changes are necessary. They must be necessary because they are happening. They're happening again and again. So rather than hate changes or hate the changes that are not our preference, rather than let the truth of change embitter us and steal our joy and wonder at the beautiful complexity of life, why not embrace the truth of change? Because we're gonna change anyway. We might as well jump in happily with our whole selves, body, mind, and spirit. What's this next thing now? I'm going to explore it. I wanted to talk about change today because of the times in which we are living. Like, it's a great story, and it's good for all of us to know that, change. But we are living in massive changing times of massive change. And I believe at the core of all of the greatest changes that we are experiencing is climate change. I think all the divisiveness that we are witnessing, not only in our country, although in our country for sure, but all over the world, is because of the climate crisis. Climate change is already bringing danger all over Mother Earth, and we have some choices that we have to make about it. Choices about how to prevent further damage, choices about how to slow this terrible progression, choices about how we must adapt to the changes that it is surely bringing. We don't have to embrace climate change as a good thing, but we surely can't continue to deny it as if it's not real. That's how we got here in the first place. So when we embrace the truth of change, when we contemplate that changes that have already occurred in our lives and in our world, we realize that we must become increasingly adaptable. Keep your knees loose. We must embrace adaptation while working to course correct. I think those are the two most important things to enact as we turn toward what is coming up on our collective horizon. To adapt as we course correct, both. And of course, to keep wrapping ourselves in each other in as much love and comfort as we can. That's why community is so important. That's why it's important to actually show up here in the room, if you're able to do so. It's important for us to remember that we are in this together. With so much that goes on only screens, we just get distant, more distant, more distant. We feel more and more isolated, and we forget how important it is to stand there like this and sing while someone runs underneath our arms for their birthday. So, my friends, the season of autumn brings visible and felt changes in the cooling temperatures and the colors of the leaves and how they let go and float to the ground in the shortening days. Autumn brings the beautiful time of harvest. It portends cozier times ahead with warming spices and fleece snugglies, cups of tea while we rest our bones, and times for gratitude gatherings with loved ones over a feast. So may we all cross that threshold of the autumn equinox with balance in mind and acceptance of change in our hearts. And may these blessings that we harvest become harvested in abundance. Thank you, and blessed be. Are we there? Not yet. We usually turn the podcast off for the community prayers, which is coming up next. Any moment now. There we go. Okay, so this is where we open up our floor for our community prayers. If you have a prayer that you'd like to offer, feel free to just say it out loud, and do say it loud enough so all of us can hear so we know what we're praying for. When you're finished, say blessed be, and we know that you're finished, and we'll move on to the next person. No prayers? There we go. Pray, yay.
Prayer for understanding and opening, and we may create stronger bonds of community.
Blessed be. Tema?
Prayer for safety for all of our kiddos and young people heading back into the school year, that they're able to have a year full of learning and come out the other end.
Blessed be.
Prayer of appreciation that my granddaughter struggled in school and she loves it.
Yay.
I was so moved.
Blessed be.
Speaking of that, I have a prayer for my great-granddaughter who is going to high school just now, and may her changes be gentle and loving.
Blessed be.
A prayer of appreciation and hope for my son, who just started into school, that he is loving so much, and that they may see him as he is for who he is, and offer him the support that he needs on his unique journey of becoming.
Blessed be.
I have a prayer, two prayers. One is appreciation for they need to come together and they need to bring this out because we're suffering from it.
Yeah, stop the
And
hardship.
There could be some tragedy.
Yeah.
resulting
Yeah.
from it. So just to hold that and resolution will occur.
Blessed be.
I'd like to offer a prayer of comfort for my colleague Katie, whose mother recently passed, as her family navigate grief and not having any particular tradition within which to do so. So comfort and ease and the easiest growth that anyone can have in a growing period
Yeah.
for them and their family as they go through this. Blessed be.
Blessed be.
Appreciation for profound sharings you shared this today, and the words of thoughts, and also the music choice, Allison, and how meaningful it was.
Blessed be. Thank you.
My mom and her husband, they were having stuff backing up into the tub, and they found out that the house that they bought a year ago had concrete pipes that had already been collapsed.
Oh, no.
They just had a job done that was $21,000.
Yikes.
It continues into the house, so they had to move out into a motel for like a week, because they don't have someone in the house, they have to fix that too. And then there's just a lot of stuff going on in all three of our lives, so that resolves in that direction.
Blessed be.
First, a prayer for the confused souls that are taken in stores and may they find refuge. And then an appreciation for the forces that gathered us together. And I traveled a long way as a confused soul, and this is a very unexpected occurring that I'm joining you today. So I would like to really thank the universe for gathering us and me with you today. So that's an appreciation of that.
Blessed be. May all our prayers, spoken and unspoken, be heard and answered. Blessed be. So I'm going to pass the love offering baskets in a moment now for your generous donations. And to those of you who are watching over Zoom and YouTube, you can go to the Gaia's Temple website and click on the donate button. Thank you so much in advance for your contributions. We've been trying very hard to rebuild this year. And so every little bit counts, and we are very grateful for all that you contribute. Also, in case you didn't know, Gaia's Temple tithes 10% of whatever comes into our love offering baskets on this day, either in the service or if you donate today by pushing that donate button. And this month we are tithing to Planned Parenthood, ensuring reproductive choice and health. So know that whatever you put into these love offering baskets, 10% will go to Planned Parenthood. So I thank you again in advance. I'm just going to bring these baskets, and if you could pass them along, that'd be great. And we sing. Thank you, Mother Earth, for your gifts of love today. Thank you, Mother Earth. We are following your way. Thank you, Mother Earth, for your gifts of love today. Thank you, Mother Earth. We are following your way. Thank you, Mother Earth. Thank you, Mother. We are following you. you so much, everyone. Thanks, Sean. All right, so since we're thanking, I'm going to thank you again for joining me for this 23rd anniversary service in Gaia's Temple, whether you're here in person or watching virtually. If you're local to Seattle, I do invite you to please come back, return to us in person, and which is crucial to our continuance in this beautiful sanctuary. So also we had such talent in the room today, so thank you to our pianist, Kathy Sestrap, our beautiful vocalist, Joyce Allison. Thank you so much. To our tech crew in the back there, Evan, Tema, and Noemi. Thank you so much to Stina coming in to play Kitchen Witch today because we are 2 board members down. Thank you. And I do hope you'll stay for fellowship after the service for a few moments. And I'd like to end this service today with this poem written by Angie Sullins. And it goes like this. Nobody tells you Persephone was a willing participant, that she wasn't picking flowers when devoured by Hades. She was digging, looking for a crack in the world, something earthy, something deep, some wild darkness to take the edge off the unbearable brightness of being mother's daughter. There comes a time when only the throaty howl of the abyss and its wild-winded chariot can carry our transformation. The piercing of red forbidden fruit, the swallowing of a seasoned seed, blazes our truth alive, embodied. To dance the equinox and weave the solstice in land, lake, and limb, we must call upon the dark to know ourselves as light. Blessed be. All right, let's release those directions. Joyce, if you come on up and blow out the candles as we go. Thank you, Mother, for the earth that is your body. Thank you, Mother, for the earth that is your body. Thank you, Mother, for the earth that is your body. Thank you, Mother, for your love. Thank you, Mother, for your love. Thank you, Mother, for the air that is your sweet breath. Thank you, Mother, for the air that is your sweet breath. Thank you, Mother, for the air that is your sweet breath. Thank you, Mother, for your love. Thank you, Mother, for your love. Thank you, Mother, for the fire of your spirit. Thank you, Mother, for the fire of your spirit. Thank you, Mother, for the fire of your spirit. Thank you, Mother, for your love. Thank you, Mother, for your love. Thank you, Mother, for the waters of your sacred womb. Thank you, Mother, for the waters of your sacred womb. Thank you, Mother, for the waters of your sacred womb. Thank you, Mother, for your love. Thank you, Mother, for your love. Thank you, sky. Thank you, ground. Thank you, Mother, won't you spin me around? Thank you, sky. Thank you, ground. Thank you, Mother, won't you spin me around? Thank you, sky. Thank you, ground. Thank you, Mother, won't you spin me around? Thank you, sky. Thank you, ground. Thank you, Mother, won't you spin me around? Thank you, Mother, for your love. 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 Thank you so much. Let's make one big circle together, shall we? Let's grasp on hands and make a somewhat circle, a long oblong. Come on in with us, Evan. There we go. It would be an ob short if it weren't long. The circle is open and unbroken. May the love of the goddess go in our hearts. Merry meet and merry part, and merry meet again. Blessed be, blessed be, blessed be. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Joyce.